We are brought to you by Boss Bears Supplements. That's Boss Bears Supplements at bossbears.co. Hard work, consistency, and determination are difficult to sustain when your mind and body can't keep up. Fuel your body with what it needs to perform like a boss. Whether you're closing deals, pitching a new business idea, or training in the gym, Boss Bears take your hustle to the next level. Our ingredients are the highest quality with potency and serving sizes that are the gold standard in the industry. Check out all of Boss Bear's products at bossbears.co. They have apple cider vinegar gummies. They have ashwagandha. They have all kinds of supplements in delicious gummy form. They also have them in pill form if you don't want the gummies. I prefer the gummies. They are delicious, and I've tried the apple cider vinegar. They are very good. Use code Nicky at checkout to save 10%. That's bossbears.co, code Nicky. We are brought to you by Clout Power Supplements. That's KLOUTPWR.com. So here I have the protein, the Cravings protein from Clout. This one is the salted caramel. This is some of the best protein that I've ever had in my life. It's actually delicious. I like the salted caramel and the cinnamon swirl are my two favorites. Also, their pre-workouts are amazing. So they have the Karma Nootropic pre-workout. It's a nootropic and focused pre-workout. It's a lower stimulant formula, zero itch formula. It has 4 trademark ingredients, and has fully dosed ingredients. So far, the Arctic Cherry is probably my favorite of the Karma pre-workout. Also, try the Nero Aminos from them. And also the High Stimulant Mamba is some of my favorite too. And I really like the Arctic Cherry of that one. So go to cloutpower.com and use code Nicky to save 15%. KLOUTPWR.com. Code Nicky to save 15%. All right, everybody, welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. We are here with bodybuilder and former powerlifter Sam, and how do you say your last name?
Doane.
Sam Doane, that's what I thought. Okay. Sam, how are you, dude?
Pretty good. Just drove here from Bremerton. So
Is that a far drive?
It's about an hour and a half, yeah.
Jesus, dude. Thank you so much for being here. That's crazy.
Yeah, no worries.
So I really appreciate that. So, Sam, you're part of the Renovation Fitness team, and you just competed in the Emerald Cup in Bellevue, and you were in which class?
So I competed in the True Novice.
Yep.
True Novice for Classic Physique.
Yeah.
And the Open.
Okay, nice,
Open
man.
D,
So what made you want to go into the Classic?
So
Versus doing like something else like men's physique or something like
bodybuilding or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So honestly, I started out, like as you said, part of Team Renovation is predominantly a men's physique competitors.
That's why I'm asking, dude, because that's kind of cool. You were like the one, the one classic dude.
The lone wolf out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a pretty long background in powerlifting.
Yes.
And so over that time, I kind of accumulated a lot of mass and size in my legs.
Right.
So I knew that was kind of a strong
Classic
part
physique
of,
thing.
Yeah, I knew that was a strong part of my physique, and I wanted to be able to show that off, essentially.
And did you get a lot of that just from doing like squats and deadlifts, you think?
Yeah, a lot of that. Power cleaning a lot also.
Yeah, that's tough. Did you play football and stuff too?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, dude. So what got you into like powerlifting in the first place? Was it because of being in sports and everything?
I'd say so. Yeah, being in sports, I was all growing up. I was 6'2" and about 160 pounds. I've been this tall since I was in middle school. Right?
And how tall are you?
6'2".
6'2". Okay.
Yeah, and so growing up, I was always the tall, skinny white guy.
Yeah, I get
And,
that. I feel that for sure.
and man, I grew up in Las Vegas, you know,
Okay.
and for some period of time, not a great area.
Yeah.
So I got
Yeah,
caught in a
what
lot.
sucks about Vegas, dude? Just like
They're I don't know.
just
That's
kind
kind of
of
tough.
yeah.
You get a lot of diverse people down there, you know.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what it's like here, right?
Yeah, I so
But
so
Vegas is probably wild, dude. Yeah, it's probably crazy.
yeah. So one example is that
A lot of tourists and yeah.
there was somebody I went to school with that her parents were trapeze artists for
Oh.
the Cirque du Soleil.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, there's just like a
lot of different people
yeah,
there. Okay.
a lot of different walks of life. But anyway, yeah. So you know, grew up being the tall, skinny white kid for a long time, and I.
So you're like, I want to put on some size.
Yeah, I was pretty insecure about.
I want to be strong.
Yeah. So when I joined the Navy when I was, you know, about 5 months after I graduated high school.
Yeah. What was that experience like, man?
Joining the Navy?
Yeah.
Well, there's kind of a lot that goes into that. So I joined the Mormon church a week before I left for boot camp.
Okay.
So I don't practice anymore.
I was gonna say, are you still Mormon?
No, so I don't.
Not that there's wrong. I mean, I'm like
yeah.
open to all religions, but yeah, that's that one's kind of wild.
Yeah, so that definitely went like in tandem with boot camp. It helped out, I would say.
Was that something that you decided yourself, or was it like something your family did, or just?
Yeah, it was something I did myself.
You kind of just got recruited into it.
I don't think I got recruited. Like neither of my parents are Mormon, you know, and none of my siblings.
It just kind of had like a calling to you at the time. Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that being paired with joining the Navy at the same time.
Right.
So trying to navigate this new church I had joined while also like being
So
in boot camp.
you kind of felt that it was like I'm doing this new journey, and so it's like religion. It's kind of like really straightening yourself out. I mean, religion.
Yeah.
And something like the Navy, dude, that's like really getting your shit together, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
In a sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of going on the straight and narrow path, like.
No, I mean, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, spiritually, mentally, wanted to get, you know, on like
discipline and kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, dude.
Yeah. I wanted to bring my body along for that ride.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So the Navy was an idea, like, you know, you could. So my last guest was also in the Navy, Eddie Lowry, and he's always like, man, you would have killed it in the Navy and all that shit. I'm like, man, when I was like the age I would have been in there, I was a piece of shit. So there's like no way. You know, I was just like partying and like, you know, playing in bands, and like there was no discipline whatsoever. So, but I really respect that kind of stuff. Like when people go into the service, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's everybody who did well that I can think of, like throughout boot camp or whatever it was, usually had a team sports background. Mm-hmm. Like the people who wrestled in high school or played football in high school or had that kind of background.
They did pretty good. Yeah.
They usually did pretty well.
Right.
You know, because they could, you know, get in the mindset that like whatever they're doing, it's for a greater cause, right? Instead of getting caught up in like the here and now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking of the not just themselves, but as the team, like a part of a whole.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so I joined the Navy.
So that kind of started your fitness journey a little bit, because you know you're going into boot camp. Of course, you're gonna have to work really hard, and
yeah, my weight kind of stayed the same throughout boot camp.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you were young, and you're not like, you probably weren't pounding the calories or anything, probably just eating normally.
No, and you burn so many calories just from, you know.
You're probably waking up running every morning and
doing
all that kind of
burpees
stuff.
And stuff.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, so we finished boot camp, and so my job is relating to nuclear power, is what I do in the Navy.
Okay.
So I went from boot camp to Charleston, South Carolina.
So what does that mean, relating to nuclear power?
So any ship that is either an aircraft carrier or a submarine in the Navy, is powered by a nuclear power plant.
Right.
So propelled, powered, right, all that other stuff.
Damn, dude. So like, what do you think about nuclear for like a power source in general?
Oh, it's funny you say that because
Well, there's a lot of talk about it right now, like that we should be going to nuclear, and then there's a lot of like, well, it's too dangerous, but then there's a lot of people like, hey, it's really gotten better than what it used to be. So I don't know the answer. I just
So it's funny you say that because a really good friend of mine, she also had the same job similar to what I did relating to nuclear power, but she got out of the Navy and was just in D.C. this last week, sitting in on a bunch of different congressional hearings and stuff like that related to
talking about all this
nuclear
stuff.
power getting more involved. And,
Right. Because I'm listening to some of these presidential candidates talk about it, and some of them are like very pro, like we need, alternative sources, and other ones are like it's so dangerous, and all. It's like I don't know, like
it's not. It's not.
I don't think it is.
dangerous.
I feel like it's like something we're gonna have to eventually turn to, like
the biggest thing that is stopping it from being more accepted in or being more available in America is the public perception of it.
Right, that's what I think. And like I'm all pro, like, we got like Teslas and we got batteries and all that stuff, but like the resources for that are not like infinite. You're gonna run out of that shit too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like we still have that. Not to get too deep in the weeds on this, but that's a super interesting thing, dude. Like, yeah. I think you're right. I think people still have this like weird, like, one wrong thing, and all of a sudden there's like this big like fallout zone where like the whole place is contaminated and like.
Yeah, and obviously going through. So the schooling we did is 2 years in Charleston.
Right.
Right, and it is a busy 2 years. Right, I could spend forever talking about it, but you're in like a building with no windows, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta scan in to enter, and you're studying confidential material. You have to be in, for the most part, you have to be scanned in for at least 10 hours a day for school, right? Studying and all sorts of stuff, right? So, obviously we talked a lot about nuclear accidents that have happened, like Chernobyl and Fukushima and stuff like
the
that.
dogs of Chernobyl and all that shit.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy to hear.
Pretty gruesome. Like the way people died from that shit. Ugh, it's fucking nasty, dude.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It's like completely different than that now. Like the technology.
It is almost the opposite of how plants are designed now versus
right, because any technology when it starts is messy like that, like that's how stuff works. But
and that was almost 60 years ago, like trying to compare any other technology.
So we're still thinking of something like it was 60 years ago. It's like think about everything like any kind of like factories and stuff when like 60 years ago people were like falling in shit and dying and like what I mean,
exactly.
Like they didn't know what the hell they were doing either, so that's so that's not a really fair assessment of that. So I think that's going to be something big in the future.
I think so too. Talking to my friend and hearing about the progress that it's made in Congress and stuff is pretty looking up for the
pretty
future.
Freaking interesting, dude. Yeah. But so anyway, Navy, and then that's like you're getting into fitness more.
Yeah. So along with that, right, I was talking about being in that school building for 10 hours a day, stuff like that. That was really helpful for trying to put on size. Right?
Yeah.
I wanted to put on a bunch of weight, so I had a timer on my watch that every hour I would eat a baked potato or a package of Pop-Tarts. Right?
Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna throw up for months.
But you just kept dominating.
Yeah, I didn't care. I would have sold my soul to be 200 pounds. Right? That was all I cared about.
So you were just like really tired of being like the skinny white kid.
Dude, I hated it. Yeah. So just doing that, and to me at the time, it made more sense to, if I was going to be putting on all this weight, I wanted to put on as much muscle as I could. So I was powerlifting, right? The 1,000-pound club. That was the huge.
So what was it that drew you into powerlifting? The strength building.
Yeah.
It's because to me, I always feel like powerlifting is attractive in a sense because it's like so functional. Like when you get into bodybuilding or like men's physique and stuff, it's so like aesthetic. It's about the look. It's about like, carving this like physique, but it's not. I mean, obviously we get strong doing it, but it's like powerlifting has always been cool to me because it's like functional. You know, like these dudes are fucking strong. You know, like in a functional sense. Like if there was like a fucking zombie apocalypse, they'd be strong as fuck. You know, like yeah.
Oh, I agree with that, and it also gives you a good foundation, right? Like
for every other thing like bodybuilding, right? Yeah.
As long as you don't just completely go ham.
Go super power lifter, like I'm sitting on a chair between each set, eating, and yeah.
As long as you don't, you could say the same thing about anything. As long as you don't take it to the extreme.
Right. There's a lot of different styles of power lifters for sure.
Yeah.
But so you said that you kind of got like too big almost, or like you were strong, but you weren't really happy with your physique.
So that was
later.
Yeah, that happened a little bit later. Yeah. But so I at the end of these like 2 years of going to schooling and stuff, I got to about 205 or 210. Right, so
this is up from the skinny kid up to 205. That's pretty good.
In about 2.5 years, yeah. So I was really, trying to. I'm telling you, my whole purpose in life was to pass the school and to put on as much weight as possible. All I cared about.
This was your mission. This was your fucking. You were all in on it.
Yeah. So did that for a little bit, and then I moved to Virginia Beach. Mm-hmm. I was there for about 4 years. This was from like 2017 to 2021.
And were you still in the Navy? This is after the Navy.
Yeah, I'm still currently in.
Oh, you still currently are? Awesome.
Yeah. So the first year or two there, being in Virginia Beach, I kind of was just continuing on this path of just trying to get bigger, to put on more weight, but not as consumed by it every day, just because my work was now starting to actually. Your
energy was starting to get into other areas.
Yeah, exactly.
So you weren't quite as obsessed, but the obsession was still there. I got you.
Yeah. So I was still working out. Like I was trying to put on as much size as possible, but the diet is kind of hard to, living on a ship and stuff, trying to keep up with that.
Yeah, you were just trying to do your work and
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, did that for about 2 years or so. I spent probably about, at the end of that, for about 6 months, kind of just trying other stuff out. I did CrossFit for a little bit.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
Honestly, I loved it.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm very competitive. So there is nothing more competitive to me than you walk into the box, right, with 30 people, and everybody's doing the same exact workout that you're doing.
Because then you want to outdo the person next to you.
Oh, yeah. I had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to kill everybody in here.
That's good, dude.
I don't even want it to be a question. That was my mission. So, and it was only an hour long, so you're working out for an hour, but you're busting your ass for an hour. It's high intensity interval training basically, right? You don't stop that entire time you're
right.
But so kind of messed around with that for a little bit. I didn't grow up with that background in CrossFit, and I had a hard time. My joints had started to I don't know, not really upkeep with my
your joints were starting to hurt.
Yeah, so like my shoulders, I have pretty bad shoulder mobility, so I could not do any like snatches or overhead squats or nothing like that.
You think how did you wear them out, or was that just kind of a genetic thing? Or
there was a couple, like I fell on my shoulder skiing.
Okay,
yeah, which
that messed up your shoulder.
Yeah, I did not think that to this day I would be, still fighting that. But
really, just one of them, one little thing like that,
Yeah, but you're skiing, you're going downhill, and all of a sudden you just take it right.
And it's fast too, dude. Yeah.
So, but so that happened, and I just kind of have been having.
Yeah, that's one thing I won't do is like ski or snowboard. Which is funny because I used to do pro wrestling and like get hit in the head with chairs and shit. But it'd be like I won't ski. I'll get hit in the head with a chair, get body slammed, but I'm not gonna go fucking down a hill that fast because I don't know what I could break something.
Yeah, it takes nothing. It does not take a lot for you to one of your skis to go off and your foot gets twisted around.
That's what I mean, dude. You break shit. I've seen so many people break stuff, twist stuff, like. Yeah, just not enough control. Same with like jumping out of airplanes. I don't think I would do that.
Yeah. No.
Which is cool. I'm sure it's cool. I'm sure it's a rush. Or like bungee jumping.
Yeah.
You ever see like the one where like the lady just, or I can't remember, like the dude or lady just like falls off, like it just slips off, like.
No.
Yeah, there's like a video like they
sitting
fall
in a
out.
chair?
No, like the bungee cord just fucking like breaks or some shit and they're just dead. You know, like.
No, man.
One of those like, you know, internet videos you shouldn't watch, but
Yeah.
it's like holy shit. It's like just the chair, like the parachute doesn't open. I'm like, I don't know. I just like I like having control over my.
Yeah, there's not a lot of. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's not a lot of room for something to save you. You know, your line of defense is very thin.
Where like even though wrestling was like dangerous, I felt like I had like control. You know,
Yeah,
like somewhat control. But if I'm like jumping out of an airplane or something, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But some people love that shit. It's like an adrenaline rush. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I've never
adrenaline junkies, dude. Yeah. For real, people get like addicted to that shit.
Yeah.
Know?
There was a video I had seen. This guy, he's serving like 30 years of jail time now. But
Jesus.
he was trying to make a cool YouTube video.
Yeah.
He was flying a plane, and he goes, "Oh no, something's broken with the plane," and he already had a parachute on him, and he just ditched the plane. He just he just jumped out and completely, spent no time trying to fix it, trying to, none of that stuff. He was trying to make a viral
But then
video.
the plane just like crashed and could have killed people.
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah. So that's why he's serving.
Like that's illegal as fuck, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like unless it's the absolute only option, like.
Well, and it's all on video, and he
That's
posted
wild,
on YouTube.
dude.
So you could see that the guy has a parachute on,
like he's
with
ready
nothing
to do
going
it.
on. Yeah.
Like, dude, you're just trying to go viral here.
Yeah.
That's the fucked up thing about the internet, dude. Everyone's like, people will show me videos and I'm like, yeah, that's staged. Like, watch this. It's like, yeah, that's staged.
Yeah.
Like, that's not real. Like, what do you, like, it's so easy to tell when they're fake. When it's like, you know what I mean? Like, people be like, this is so, it's like, no, that's not, they plan that. They're trying to, like, get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's that, right? The, stuff that's clearly fake. And then to the other extreme, like, the extent that people are willing to go to get views. You know what I mean? They don't care. They don't care who it hurts. They don't care about like the repercussions for it and stuff.
no.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, even like Logan Paul had that with that where he went to that suicide place or whatever,
Yeah.
and like, he was young and stupid, and he kind of like apologized for that, but like, yeah, it's you get caught up in that shit, dude.
Yeah.
It's like this is content. This is content.
And there's there are like TikTokers and stuff that are like they're pranksters.
Oh,
And their idea of a prank is going up to somebody at the mall and saying, "I'm gonna stab you," and pulling out a fake knife, right? But then the guy like freaks out and they're like, "Oh, it's just a prank. What are you getting so upset at?" Like,
or like those people just like go and kiss people and shit. I think this is fucking buzzing, dude. I can see if I can fix that. It still is. I don't know.
am I good?
Oh well, we're good. We're good. Sometimes it just fucking does some weird shit.
Yeah.
It gets a little hum, and it's like you don't even hear it on the fucking recording. So I don't know why I'm worried about it. But yeah.
no worries.
Anyways, yeah, it is weird, dude. Like, yeah, you'll see the ones where like people go in the mall and they'll just like brush against people's face or some shit. Like, I don't know. I'm not big on that shit, but
No.
it's all for attention,
Oh, and they get paid like a good amount to do that.
Well, now these like TikTokers, there's this comedian Tim Dillon, and these like younger TikTokers like basically got busted like that they were like getting money from political parties to like say cool shit about the president or other like it's like propaganda, but like so they're saying shit, but it's like, oh wait, you're getting paid to say that. Like, I don't know, it's so crazy, that shit.
Yeah, I'm curious what they got in trouble for not like disclosing that.
Well, they didn't really get in trouble. They just like he basically caught him like, oh, you're saying this shit not because you believe it, But because this group that's related to this other group that is a political party is giving you money to say that the president's cool and young and hip and not just like old as fuck, you know? Like, so it's like, you know, they're doing anything they can to like, you know, and I'm sure like both sides are guilty of it. I'm not trying to just, you know, talk shit about the president, but yeah, it's just funny. It's like, because it's like attention is power with all this, you know? It's like with TikTok and it's also weird. Like TikTok is so, short form, you know, like I was listening to, so I'm a huge Metallica fan and like I love their new album, and like one of the reviews is like, oh, you know, they should have wrote it for the TikTok generation. It's like, no, it's Metallica, fuck that. Like, because it's like basically saying that the song should be like 2 minutes long. It's like, no, Metallica songs are like 8 minutes long. Like, shut the fuck up, you know, like they're not writing for that. So it's like everybody has no attention spans now, which is weird. You know.
Yeah, there's so I don't have TikTok on my phone, right? I don't.
What do you
have it at
think
all.
about TikTok? I've heard other states are like banning it already.
Well, what do I think? What about it, like in general?
Yeah, I mean, is it good, bad? Like,
I mean, I don't know. Like for my generation it was Vine. You know, did you?
I remember
Vine.
Vine. I remember Vine. Yeah.
But it
My
seemed
buddies
like,
were big on Vine, dude.
Oh, I thought Vine was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, but I think what's changed between Vine and TikTok is that Vine back in the day was just all a bunch of really funny stuff, right?
Actually funny shit.
Funny stuff. Whereas now, everything is based off like the algorithm, right? And what the algorithm thinks that
thinks you like.
See.
Yeah.
So it'll just recommend you stuff that you think that that it thinks
like you're getting a lot of gym content or like
and
like your Instagram will give you like tons of hot girls, like
and it'll, you know, I think it's really important to look at stuff that you might not necessarily agree with, you know.
I do too.
Even if you don't like it,
it gets you in a little bubble, basically.
Yeah, you know, putting yourself in an echo chamber does not help.
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
No.
So.
I agree, man. So like, TikTok is weird because then it's like funny too. Like, I'll have younger friends and they'll like show me something that they just think is like hilarious, and I'm like, I don't get it. You know, I'll be like, what is funny about this?
I totally.
You know, like there's like I'll go, you know, I can watch like a comedy special or like something that's well crafted and I'll think it's hilarious, but like they like think these little like why is that so funny? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, it's.
But to them, it's like the greatest work of art ever. So like maybe I'm just too old to understand. You know?
Yeah, I think TikTok has its own like atmosphere of people. So there's like inside jokes of stuff that happens on TikTok.
Right. So then they get the inside joke, but you don't. Yeah. Like it's like a trending thing. So like, oh, listen, it's like, but you don't know what the trend, like it's a catchphrase or something. So it's like not funny to you.
Yeah. You're like,
but to them, they're on the inside joke or like. One thing that was cool on YouTube and TikTok that somebody was showing me were like these kind of like horror, like ghost story, like short things. And I was like, that actually was pretty cool. Like they started showing some like weird stuff, like the backwards man and all this shit. Like some of these like really like quick horror story type shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was actually pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that actually caught my attention for a second because they were actually scary. I was like, holy shit. You
said on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube, and I think TikTok did some stuff too. Like, but yeah, some of those YouTube horror story short things are like, if you're like watching it late at night, dude, they're fucking scary.
Oh, I never. Oh,
that shit's fun, kind of.
You couldn't pay me to watch that
horror stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
It's scary, dude. Like,
it sticks with me for too long.
Yeah, it'll like get in your psyche and shit. It's not good. You got to limit it, I think.
Absolutely.
Just like everything, you know.
Yeah. On when we were on. We were out at sea for a little bit, and you know, one of these guys I worked with, he built this server of like 10,000 movies, right? And dang near any movie you could think of.
Yep, everything. Okay.
And we went through a week of just watching horror movies.
Yeah.
Right? So like The Witch.
Dude, The Witch is creepy.
Yeah, Hereditary. Right, a bunch of
that one was fucked.
Yeah, totally. And man,
I didn't even really understand the ending still. I'm just like, I don't know what happened. It was like the one spot with the big surprise spot was like, that was fucked up, you know, like.
Yeah.
But I still kind of don't understand really what happened at the end. You know?
It was a lot to follow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't watch I could not sit there and watch all the movies, but I tried.
Yeah.
I tried sitting through and watching one, and that stuck with me for the next like week and a half. That's all I could think about going about my day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it really stuck with me.
Well, that's what'll happen with those horror movies. Yeah, it's like kind of like everything. Like the stuff that you intake is like a diet. You know what I'm saying? So just like food is a diet, whatever kind of stuff. Same like you said, being in an echo chamber, the internet, it's all like a diet. And whatever you intake, it's like you got to make sure you're putting in good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes that horror stuff gets a little heavy. You got to like, take a break from it or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the horror stuff, I could never do it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of fun sometimes. But yeah, I think it's like something you got to limit, What genre do you usually like, Dad, for movies and stuff?
For movies? I really like, so I would say all of my favorite movies are all between like 1990 and like 2005.
Okay.
There's a bunch of movies in that era where the story was super good, right? The acting was also
super good,
right on top. So movies like Good Will Hunting,
yeah,
right?
Actually good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like Shawshank Redemption.
The big hitters.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Matrix.
Dude, like.
Hold on, give me a second. They'll come to me. But yeah, so those.
No,
kind
I
of
feel
movies,
you. Like, so like really good, like well written movies with an actual message that are well put together. Yeah, those. That's like I had this comedian on here once. His name is Josh Shakespeare, and he's got this great joke about like the Hannibal Lecter movies, like, so he's like a serial killer, but they enlist his help, even though he's bad, to like catch another serial killer, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, all I'm saying is he's like, I'm just saying, like, I know he's a bad guy and he's in jail, but he's like, what if like the same way they enlist Hannibal Lecter to help him catch, so we go talk to Harvey Weinstein. Like, I just missed good movies. Like, we need a pedophile. He's like, I know he's a bad guy, but we just like Hannibal Lecter style. We go talk to him. We make movies with him, but we don't let him out of jail. We just, because he's like, I missed good movies. And he's talking about like from the 90s. Because, Harvey Weinstein was behind a ton of great movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But he's like, just hear me out. It's like he's got this whole fucking bit about it. It's so funny. Like, I didn't do it any justice there, but man, it's funny when he says it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
So there were, I think you're right. There was their age there of like really good fucking movies, I mean, there's still some now, but
yeah,
I think the internet's changed it a little bit. And streaming and
yeah, those are the ones that really stuck to me.
Because have you ever heard, like, I think it was Matt Damon say, like, the problem now is because of, nobody buys DVDs. So, like, he said studios used to be able to, like, greenlight movies knowing they weren't going to make their money back in the theater. So now they'll only greenlight shit if it's, like, a fucking Marvel. Like, it's been fucking tested. Like, it's gonna make its money back in the theater, because before they could bank on DVD sales afterwards. So they could do a movie that maybe was like a little more of an artistic movie, or like wasn't for sure gonna, so they would take more chances in the old days because they could make the money back on DVD sales. Yeah. But now it's like, unless for sure it's going to kill in the box office, they won't even greenlight it, So, like, that was just what Matt Damon was saying. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interesting to see the statistic of, like, movies that never made it to theater but went straight to DVD, and how well those movies are considered. What the critique rating of those movies are.
Yeah, there's probably a few good ones, right? Like,
yeah. I'd be interested to see, like...
But yeah, it's like, unless they're a big box office, which I like the big box office ones and shit. Some of the Marvel shit, it's fun,
Yeah.
But then you kind of see it, you've seen them all. It's like, yeah, sometimes you miss those, like, good heartfelt shit. Like you said, like Good Will Hunting and stuff, dude. Like, really makes you think shit, so...
Yeah, and I think, so a good example, right, is, so The Dark Knight, right? Dude. That's considered, if you were to look up on IMDb, I am fairly certain that that's considered like the 7th best movie of all time.
Well, it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, right, out of thousands, right?
So when I got this new tattoo, this piece done, I basically got to sit there and watch The Dark Knight and get my tattoo. Like that was like one of the greatest days of my life because I'm like,
Getting both
you know, I was really stupid because I did it like before the show, so I was already fucking like in like the hardest part of prep, super depleted, and then I'm getting my arms stabbed into. You know, I'm already fucking halfway out of it. But we go there, and so like,
How many weeks out were you?
oh shit, dude, it was like, it was bad. Like, what was it? The show was on the 29th, right? Yeah.
Oh, this is like for Emerald Cup?
Yeah, April 29th. I believe I got my tattoo on like the fucking like 20th or some shit. Like I had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's like 6 days to let it heal basically. And then I got the spray tan over it. Yeah, my coach wasn't very happy with me, but
You got a spray tan?
yeah, it was only like 6 days of healing, and then after the spray tan came off, it still had a lot of healing to do and shit. I was like, yeah, I won't do that. But it was kind of a thing where I like had changed the date with the tattoo place like twice, so they're like, if I would have tried to change the date one more time, like I would have just lost my deposit. Yeah, so I'm like, shit. All right, well, I guess we're doing this. Yeah. But I watched The Dark Knight while I was doing it, so it was like one of the greatest days ever. I'm like getting a tattoo, watching The Dark Knight, like
yeah, and you know the reason I bring that up is that like, right, it's a superhero movie and it's considered one of the best movies of all time, right?
Yeah.
Because they paid a lot of attention to the story. There's not a single wasted line in that entire movie, right?
But that's the Christopher Nolan Batman. It's like he's different, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he brought him into a world where people that don't necessarily like superhero movies would enjoy them, you know, like because he's like he made it so realistic almost. Like I mean, it's not realistic because it's like still, you know, but it is. He made it seem like it was real.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah,
and I think me personally, those are the movies that. Well,
those are some of my up top like movies. The Nolan Batmans, they're like way high up there. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, even now that I am thinking about it, those movies that I consider my favorite, I think I like them so much because you could imagine that happening in real life, right?
Yeah,
If
they're
that
all
story
realistic.
was to happen in real life, right? Like whether it's Green Mile or Shawshank Redemption, I could see that happening. Dude, yeah, somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
Those
with
are like
Knight.
those classic movies, dude. Like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, so anyways, let's go back to your powerlifting, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was a great aside because, no, I'm a super into movie. Like my best friend back home is like he's a, you know, like I don't know, he's funny because he's like he runs a lawn care business and everything, and he's just a regular dude. But when it comes to movies, he's just like a fucking movie snob, you know. Like he might as well be like, you know. Like he'll watch any artsy type of movie, and he does not seem like he's his big beard, you know, like just like fucking normal looking dude. But when it comes to movies, he's like this movie buff, you know, critic, you know, just like.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
With that and music.
Oh, he's the same way with music.
Yeah, where some guys are
like it's got to be like Tool or something like extremely fucking like, you know, the highest level of fucking artistic like.
Yeah, that or. You know, can name off albums that maybe 5 other people on Earth have heard of. You know, like no one knows who these people are, but you know, they just got the entire thing cataloged in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm jealous of that. I wish I had.
Yeah, very similar, dude. Like he's a big Christopher Nolan fan though.
Yeah.
You know, like Memento, all the fucking.
Oh yeah.
He does have some good movies. Like it's like Memento, The Prestige. Have you ever seen The Prestige? Yeah, dude, so fucking good.
That's a great one. I tried watching Memento, but that was.
It's pretty messed up. It's hard to follow. Yeah. And that was like his first big one. And then obviously Inception was like mind blowing. And then I've lost touch because like I saw Interstellar, but then after that he had a couple more that I have not seen.
Yeah, I think Tenet, right?
Tenet,
that was a newer one. I didn't watch that.
I didn't see it either.
I got like halfway through, and you know, I think there's a limit to like the.
Took it too far, maybe.
Yeah, like if you pay attention, then they're speaking in backwards what they were saying
'Cause,
at
like,
the beginning of the movie, you know? Like,
Because I thought
don't have the-
Inception and Interstellar were very well done.
Yeah.
But if you take that a little further, you're gonna lose. Like it's like I don't
you're
even know.
already at the limit.
Like those
you
I
know?
could understand, but it was tough. Like you had to really pay attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go a little, so he got a little too Christopher Nolan-y.
Yeah. I made the mistake of watching Inception with my grandma in theaters, and
Dude,
I
that's
love
wild.
I love my grandma to death.
How does that even happen?
So just like we're watching the movie, and then like
I watched Jurassic Park 3 with my grandma in theaters. So
Yeah?
so that's random too. I get like
Yeah.
I don't even know why that happened, but
I don't know why in the world that was the movie she wanted to go see, but
Yeah.
okay, cool. And just watching it and like, hey Sam, are they still dreaming right now? And I'm like, Grandma,
you gotta
no
just,
more questions until the end of the
yeah, you gotta figure this out,
I
Grandma.
I can't deal with questions mid movie theater.
Yeah.
But
You gotta like take it all in, dude. That's hilarious.
yeah, it's a lot,
But yeah, so anyways, let's get back to the powerlifting a little bit. So you're in the Navy still. So like were you just stationed somewhere when you started powerlifting, or were you like
yeah.
So you're mostly here now?
Yeah, I was on a ship out of
And could you lift on the ship at all or no?
yeah.
They had a pretty good weight room and
Yeah, so I was on an aircraft carrier, which those ships are huge, right? So they had 3 different gyms that you could go to. There was one that was on the most like outboard side of the ship that would overlook the ocean. While you were working out. That was awesome, right?
Okay,
it got
cool.
pretty hot, but so you could definitely like
stay in shape
while you're out there.
Yep.
So, but
so you're keeping the passion alive out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the mindset kind of changed a little bit. I got done, or I was about to start one of my deployments, and I met this guy out of Virginia. His name is John Rivas.
Yes.
Shout out to him. He's a cool guy.
Okay.
He was a powerlifter at VMI, and he for a little bit had the world record for the tri lift for his weight class.
Dope.
Super strong dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He was. I hope I don't quote this wrong, but he was like 242 pounds, and I believe his tri lift was a little over 2,000.
Holy
like
shit.
benching over 500, squat and deadlift like 750. Right.
Yeah,
Super
dude,
strong
that's
guy.
a big. Yeah.
So he did that for a while.
Big numbers.
And then decided he wanted to do bodybuilding instead.
Yep.
So I saw him working out in the gym, and the guy's like, 290, and you could see every vein in his body, right?
So
He's
not
just
a big
huge-
fat 290, like
No,
you're just a
he's
jack 290.
Huge, right? And I remember talking to him at the gym for like 2 hours the first time I met him about the mentality difference between pushing weight to work out for powerlifting versus like training your muscles for bodybuilding.
Right. So the hypertrophy stuff, more of the mind muscle connection.
Yeah, and it all blew my mind when I heard that, right? And he explained it super well. I got to work out with him for about 3 or 4 months, and I learned a ton
So much from him.
in that time. He actually just won his class at the Arnold.
Dude, that's
this
so
last year.
powerful when you meet like the right person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That really influences you. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, that stuff's so valuable.
Yeah. And, he just won the super heavyweight class for bodybuilding at the Arnold this last year. Yeah. So, it's been awesome to, that was a life-changing little time, only 5 or 6 months, but to learn all this stuff about bodybuilding.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So once that happened, I went on deployment, so it wasn't, not a whole lot you can do about like, bodybuilding when you're on deployment. 80% of it's the diet, right?
Mm-hmm. That's still how it is, dude.
Yeah. So
diet is literally everything, dude.
Yeah.
God damn. Like,
so your diet goes out the window when you're on deployment. It is tough to try to eat any semblance of clean.
Like, what do you have? What's even available to you?
So it was kind of
just shit, huh?
Yeah. So we would get every 2 to 3 weeks, a ship would come out and give us supplies and stuff.
So you're just eating what you can.
Yeah, but every 3 weeks you're getting produce, So, think about how long produce stays good.
So you only get the produce for a while. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
It's
and
done.
Then you're seeing brown iceberg lettuce, for days, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh damn,
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of the stuff that holds well is fried food, stuff that is quick and easy to prepare and stuff like that.
So like frozen stuff that you can fry.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, that kind of stuff that holds well, right? Every so often they'll have like chicken breasts and stuff like that, but
Right.
you got a bunch of like 18-year-olds trying to cook this for 5,000 people.
Yeah,
and
no way.
It just.
So is it like kind of just like a kitchen where it's like made for you and you just go in and.
Yeah, you gotta wait in line.
Wait in line. You go through, and so there's not a lot of options.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, not at all. Yeah.
That makes sense, dude. So you're just doing what you can, and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So doing what I can to just try to keep my strength up as much
Get
as
calories.
I can.
Yeah.
For those 2 deployments I went on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And then so when were you like back to a place where you could kind of focus, and then were you powerlifting?
So it was
like when you're back on land, you're like what year was that where you kind of like were able to, when you were kind of back on land, you're not in a deployment, are you working out at a gym? Are you powerlifting? What's the...
Yeah, so it's kind of... So I was on deployment from January of 2020 to August of 2020.
Gotcha.
Right? So we came back from deployment, but we left on our next deployment.
So that's a long time.
Yeah, we left on our next deployment 3 months later.
Shit.
Right? So
there was... right back to back.
Yeah, so back to back, right? And then that deployment was January of 2021 to July of 2021.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So and I had that experience working out with John the 3 months before I left for that first deployment.
Okay.
So there was a long stretch of time before I was able to ever really get buckled down to start this, like...
To get any kind of, like, momentum going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you weren't just out on another deployment. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So after that second deployment I did is when I moved here.
Right.
To Washington.
Yep.
So the first, I moved to Washington, and I knew 0 people in this area.
Nobody.
Did not know a single
How did
person.
you end up here then? Just
that's where the Navy
It's where
sent
they
me.
put you. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's your family based out of?
Las Vegas.
Still Vegas. Okay, so then you end up here after 2 deployments around like in 2021-ish.
Yeah. Late 2021.
And was stuff like still shut down then? Or were there some gyms open?
No. So things had been.
They started opening back up. So gyms were back open. So you're able. So where'd you start working out?
So the first gym I found here in like the Bremerton area was this gym, Doane Fitness. Which, if you've ever been there, is a total strongman in powerlifting.
So yeah, you're kind of
gym,
around that.
right?
So you get into powerlifting.
So I met the owner of the gym, right? And I told him when I met, I was like, I have no interest in doing this. I want to do a bodybuilding show, right?
Right. So you already then
so I already
thinking that.
Right. But then he convinced me to just do a powerlifting meet, because you've never done like a sanctioned meet before.
Right.
So
because you hadn't. Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, okay, fine, I will do one sanctioned meet. So he started coaching me, right?
Yep.
And there was some stuff that went on, but I ended up the meet I was going to compete in did not
happen.
I did not get signed up for it.
Okay.
Right, and that made me furious, right? So I was like, no, I'm done working out here, right? So I
somebody dropped the ball, kind of like it wasn't you.
Yeah, it was not me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was not having it.
Right.
So then I started going to another gym out in Bremerton called the Factory. So a lot of started going to the Factory. It's a pretty small, like, kind of appeal to everybody to the best of their ability. They got like turf in the
yeah.
Like they have some functional
stuff, but
like,
there's lifting machines and
stuff like that. And I'm
kind
really,
of a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, essentially. So I moved there, and I met a ton of fantastic people there.
Cool people. Yeah, that matters so much, dude. It's the people you meet, man. Fuck.
Yeah, and nobody really bodybuilding, just people who worked out, right? So I got in with a bunch of people, like made good friends finally, was really incorporating into the area and stuff.
Which is hard in a new area, dude. It really is. Yeah.
If there's
it takes a longer time than you think.
Here, if you love supporting the podcast and or the subscription program, and if you really want to do this guy a service, make sure you listen to what he's sponsored with. Take advantage of discounts. If you look at manscaped.com, 20% off with the code Nicky Fit.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not do yourself a service and clean up downstairs?
Do your balls a service,
dude. You do not want to be looking unkept for your
partner.
You're
talking about like, hey guys, quit fucking watching porn. Actually go out and find a real woman. So to start with that, order a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 and shave them balls up. So
I love the lawnmower,
dude. She's gonna pull it out and it's gonna be all hairy and gross. She's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck is this?"
Clean that shit up, dude.
If they clean up, you should clean up.
You gotta.
You know what? It's the law.
Well, yeah, and you want them to clean up, so you better fucking clean up too,
yes,
bro.
be presentable, men. Be presentable, men out there.
We love it, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the gym is something that is everywhere, right? So if you ever get moved somewhere to another area, that's a place that you can go and meet people.
It's the easiest way you're gonna meet. I mean, because if it's your thing,
Yeah, if that's your thing, then you can meet other people there. Oh, you're competing in a show coming up here soon? Oh yeah, I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's really easy to kind of find people like that. And so I kind of lost the drive I had to do a show at that point. I was just hanging out with a lot of friends and
chilling.
stuff.
Yeah.
I got a dog at the time. She's a little golden retriever lady. She's my favorite little dog.
Yeah.
But
dogs are dope, dude.
Yeah. So it started going throughout this, but then I went to this festival called Base Canyon right at the Gorge. I don't know if you ever heard of that. No.
Oh, I've seen on your Instagram. You're kind of into like music and shit. Huh?
I love.
Yeah.
I played the drums growing up.
Yeah.
Music is something I hold very.
Okay, yeah, I could tell by your stories and stuff. You like going to like festivals and shit.
Love it. Right, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I never really went to like electronic music festivals before this time last year.
Right, but now it's like a thing you love, huh?
Yeah, I saw Tool twice live, like in 2019. For the longest time, they were my favorite.
Well, dude, I mean, they're up there for me. Like when you talk about those like really good movies, like. That's kind of where I put Tool. Like, obviously, like, sometimes you're like, I don't want to listen to that because it's, like, so complex and shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I put them in, like, the highest level of musicianship you can kind of get to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're not for everybody, but the musicianship-wise, like, they're hard to play. It's complicated.
And, and I'm sure you know Danny Carey, the drummer for Tool, is one of the most talented people on earth. And I grew
like
up.
I've watched those YouTube videos of him just playing like Numa, where they just have the cameras zoomed in on him, and it's just like crazy.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I saw them live 5 months before they released Fear Inoculum.
Yeah.
Right, and they played a whole bunch of old stuff, and then next year they
played more of the new shit.
They came out with that album Fear Inoculum, and then I got to see them live again. So it was awesome. Within a year, I got to see them play all of their old 10,000 Days, and Lateralis stuff, and then a year later see them play.
Lateralis was probably my biggest favorite, because it was. I still remember hearing like Schism for the first time, and like blew my mind. But that Fear Inoculum song, dude, that's like that one trips me the fuck out because, I mean, if you just listen to the lyrics, it is deep as fuck.
Yeah,
and if you understand what he's saying. Like it's just one of the coolest songs I've ever heard.
Yeah,
like lyrically, it's like mind blowing because you're like, holy shit, like if you kind of get what he's saying, and it could be anything. It could be like, you think about like governments trying to brainwash you or anybody. It could just be like a person you're in a bad relationship with, and you finally like realize they're manipulating you. And once you kind of like, I don't know, dude, the lyrics to that song are heavy.
Absolutely, yeah. And like you said, I think it's a reason they're so it's so heavy. You can apply that to a lot of different things.
Right. Those lyrics could go to so many things, but it's such a universal. Like, if you understand what he's saying and you've been through anything like that, you're like, holy shit. It could be a parent that's been, like, brainwashing their kid their whole life, or a cult, you know, and, like, once you kind of get inoculated to this, you know, like, you are aware of it. It could be a religion or whatever, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you've been, like, basically lied to the whole time. Like, it takes all that power away.
Yeah.
You know, it's like. But so that's a deep fucking song, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. For me, it was 10,000 Days. That was the first.
Dude, that album's so good.
That was the first one that I owned, and I remember listening to Wings for Marie, which, part 1 and 2, and my mom, her middle name is Marie, right?
Yeah.
And that song is about his mother passing away,
Yep.
right? Judith
Yep.
Marie, and man, like
That's a heavy song,
yeah,
dude.
super heavy, right? And I remember that really stuck out and meant a lot to me when I heard that. You know.
Yeah, man. It's a deep song.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, those are such good albums. Like, really, if you think about it, they've literally just gotten better and better. You know, like, you go from, like, Anima to Lateralis, which that one was so mind-blowing. But then, you're right, 10,000 Days is, like, just as mind-blowing. And then that one had some really fun songs, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it wasn't all just super deep. Like, I mean, yeah, they're all super deep, but, like, even, like, The Pot and stuff, like, those are just fun fucking songs,
Rosetta
dude.
Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone, and, like, yeah, that's a great album, dude.
Yeah.
And even Vicarious, like, that is such a true song. Like, we do love to, like, watch the crash. Like, people watch NASCAR for the fucking crashes, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That dude has such a weird way of looking at the world.
Yeah, and Right in 2 at the very end, I think is one of the most underrated, you know,
It is.
underappreciated Tool songs.
I'm thinking of the riff right now,
Yeah.
They played that recently, and somebody's like, that's, like, the first time they played it in a long time or something.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
So one of the lyrics from that song is, he says, "Repugnant is the creature who would squander the ability to lift an eye to heaven, conscious of his fleeting time here." Right? And I remember
Holy
hearing
shit.
that, and I was like,
I know.
how do you put that into a song and still make it sound good? You know, none of those words rhymed. You know, like I don't know. So,
It's like, I feel like he's, like, on the level of, like, when I take mushrooms, how I feel, but he's just, like, there all the time. You know, like, yeah, like, he, like, understand. It's weird. He, like, understands this, that human beings are this, like, connected thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just there all the time. Yeah, like, it's this web of, like, us, the universe, if it's God, whatever it is, like, it's this whole connected thing. But we all get, like, separated into these bodies, and we think we're just, like, these separate things, but we're all part of this one thing. And, like, I mean, that's, like, he talks about that in so many songs.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the line you just said was, like, yeah. And then if you think about it like that, like how beautiful life is, then you start worrying about, like, actually, I don't know what that line was, but something about squandering it. Like, I worry about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, probably my biggest fear is, like, wasting my life, you know? So that's why I'm always trying to, like, do shit that's, like, I don't know. I've always tried to do shit that, like, where I'm, like, never going to be on my deathbed being like, man, I really wanted to do that thing, but I didn't, you know? Like, I don't want those regrets, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's even, like, doing this last bodybuilding show and stuff. And it's like, and I definitely want to do another one. Like, you're going to do more too, right?
That's the plan. Yeah.
But you're not right now.
Not until, so I was 20 pounds under my weight cap on stage.
So the crazy thing is you told me that when you were powerlifting and you decided to do the bodybuilding show, you were around, like, 270.
Yeah.
So that kid that was, like struggling to gain weight, and this skinny white kid, like you said, like, you had worked yourself somehow to 270. You know how fucking big that is, dude?
Yeah.
That's huge.
I did not feel, I did not feel like I wasn't fat, right? I was not a fat 270.
So you weren't even.
I was just like
big.
I was just a big dude. Right?
Yeah.
But it was.
But 270 is big.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, you see guys like The Rock or Batista, like, they're not even 270, are they? Like,
no, but those guys are.
they've been 270.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've been, like, I'm guaranteed like Batista when he was wrestling was up in the 250s, 260s at one point before he got leaner.
Yeah. How tall is he?
I think they're both pretty tall, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like The
'cause-
Rock's like 6'5".
Okay. Then yeah, if they're 6'5", then yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so 270 down to like what? Your stage weight was 210?
Just about 215.
Dude.
Jordan said I could have been 5 to 10 pounds lighter on stage.
Well, same
So,
with me, dude. We could be leaner. That's why I'm like, this next show, I was like, I wanted to outdo myself, and I just fucking lost the thread between this last show and the next show. And I'm like, if I'm not going to come in better, I'm going to wait till next year and come in better.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of work to do with like posing and shit.
Yeah.
I was horrible at posing, like it's just so unnatural for me.
Yeah.
So how did you get it? I mean, you're doing bodybuilding posing, classic. That's so different, right?
Yeah. So I
think it's cooler sometimes, like than the men's physique stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the different poses you can do.
Yeah.
I feel like you can, if you have a lot of strengths, then you could show them off a lot
Right.
better in the classic physique poses.
Right. There's some dope like poses in that.
Yeah.
It seems like, yeah.
But Jordan actually set me up with this guy Dom out of Body Shop.
Yeah, Dom, that dude was on here once. He's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So like him and Kyle, Kyle Crotty? You probably don't. He's friends with Dom, but they came on and did a whole podcast, and we like fucking, it didn't save or some shit, so we lost the whole episode. And theirs was so
man.
good. Because like Dom's kind of a genius, like
Yeah.
especially with diet and stuff.
Oh yeah. And
He's like got a lot of valuable information, dude. Like even stuff like, he's one of those old school guys where like he's like, all you guys with your fucking Instagram and you want to be like lean year round. He's like, that's not how it works. Like you're gonna get fat when you're bulking sometimes. Like
Yeah.
not fat, but like there is this weird like we all want to look like Instagram ready like all year
all the
round.
time.
And if you're trying to gain size, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So like it's like what's important, you actually getting better at your sport or trying to look good on Instagram year round or like
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like he's one of them, he's got that old school mentality. So how did you enjoy working with him?
I loved it. So every Friday for the last 3 months I was on prep. I
Yeah.
drove out to Bothell every Friday.
Yeah.
And did an hour and a half of posing with him.
Dude, that's what I need to hear.
And I did it all the time. The posing difference between when I started and to being on stage were wildly different.
And I think that's why I really decided not to do this show because I haven't been posing and I need to. And Jordan's been on me about it. And if I do another show, that's got to be the biggest. Like that has to be like everything, like stomach vacuums, stomach holds, posing.
Yeah.
Like that has to be. It's hard to get in that mentality, I love when I get into lifting, and just doing the routine of like my lifts and you get stronger and shit. But like that's a huge part of it. But that's not what makes you look good on the stage. It's the posing, dude, and like knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, and the diet and all that stuff. But
The thing that I don't like about posing is that it's so subjective, right?
right, the judges can kind of.
Yeah, if I hit a pose right here, I could pull 3 different judges in here, and they would each have a different comment about my pose.
True.
So
Yeah.
one person would say that my upper body looked good, but I could probably do something better with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
it's
100%.
all opinion based,
It's all opinion based.
and that
That's one thing too different about when you're talking about powerlifting versus bodybuilding.
exactly. Yeah.
Powerlifting, yeah, I mean, maybe there's coaches where one will call it like, oh, you didn't hit depth, and another one's he'd hit depth. Like that's very, but for the most part, the idea is like, there's no, like if they pick that weight up, it doesn't matter if they look fat, skinny,
Yeah.
how their abs look, like as long as it was fucking correct form and they got the weight up, that counts.
Yeah.
So it's very not subjective the way bodybuilding is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
exactly.
it's a number.
There's no opinion to if I bench this correctly.
Yeah, if you bench it correctly and you make the weight, there's no fucking opinion. It's like,
or maybe not even correctly, but just got the weight up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped here on my chest, and then I came up and locked my arms out.
Yeah.
Right? There's no argument
That
to be had
counts.
over that.
Yeah.
So that's something that I struggle a little bit with the posing is that I don't sit and watch a lot of like the pros pose and stuff like that. So I don't know what good looks like.
do you think that's a good idea to do that? Like study other guys, or do you think it's better not to do
I think it's from what I've been told from plenty of
kind of like
different
watching
coaches.
tape, like when I wrestled, like so much of it you honestly would get from like the same way like football teams like watch tape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's weird because like you grow up watching this thing and it's like weird that when you start doing it, how much of it naturally just like you already kind of know how to do because you've just been watching it so long.
Yeah.
So it like all gets absorbed into you. So like I feel like if you are watching a lot of different posing, I feel like that's maybe why like all that classic posing it seems cooler is because like that's the shit we saw like on TV like Arnold and all like this.
Yeah, so I think if you find a guy that matches your physique who's a professional, then you can watch what works for him. How does he go through this transition?
But then also you're gonna find stuff that just is unique to you, I'm sure too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah. So how I got to actually doing the show was so I went to Base Canyon, right, and I was about like 265 at this point. You know.
Yep.
So I lost just a little bit of weight, but nothing, not from dieting or nothing.
Just kind of naturally, yeah.
And I met Sear, June, and Chris Tovar, right?
Okay,
We all were camping together.
Right.
And those three guys were all diced up.
They're
right?
the renovation dudes.
And I was like, man,
I want to do that.
I could be diced up. I could be cut. So I talked to June a little bit about it and Sear, and at the end of the festival, after it was maybe 2 weeks after the festival ended, I had to put my dog down, and
man, sorry about that.
That wrecked me.
Obviously
that was
huge.
Super tough on me, and I think when that happened, I was like, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I
it
really
made you like
do this.
realize life, like how important it is, kind of, or like
Yeah. So that was I think three weeks later, I got a hold of Jordan and told him, I want to do Emerald Cup in April.
Dude,
and it was
sick.
like October at that time or
Yep,
something.
yep.
So I think when I started working with him, I think I was 255 or 260.
Right.
So I went from 260 working with Jordan, middle of October to 215. Could have been 210.
Were there any like bumps in the road through that, or was it pretty smooth?
In terms of what?
Just was cutting fun? I mean, like, or were you just so committed it seemed easy, or like?
No, dude. I wish I could have. Staying on the diet was super.
It's
super
tough.
Yeah.
So for me, it didn't get easy until like we got really close to the show
Yeah.
and something like switched in me, and I wish I could. I need to get that mentality back for the next show, but like start that out longer, because like the diet thing's hard, and that's even kind of why I decided not to do the next show, because I just couldn't get that fucking same level of like dieting, like getting hard. Like, I mean, I'm up every morning doing my cardio 6. I've still been doing that, hitting that hard, but I just like couldn't get that same like fucking. I'm like, dude, I just
drive.
Yeah, I was like, I just don't want to. Like, to me, there's nothing better than being cut, though. Like, when we cut for that show, I've never felt better in my life. Just fucking sick. But there's something like, dude, after going through all that, I just like, I'm not ready to do it again yet. And I'm like, man, I want to put on a bunch of size. So like, I talked to him today, and that was like tough to tell him that too. Like, dude, I'm not gonna do the Tangy show. I was like, he's like, and I'm like, well, can I? It's so funny because I'm like, can I just like try to stay lean for the summer? And he's like, no, if you're not doing the show, we're fucking bulking. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's do it, dude.
Yeah.
So like, but I know what you mean. Like, it is tough, right? Like, if you're hungry and like, it can be pretty challenging.
And having to,
especially coming from that weight you were at, dude. That's a big cut.
Well, and no one can describe or no one can prepare you for how much of your life gets taken up by it, right? Like,
oh yeah, you got to be like fucking in your own world.
Yeah, so
like friends, fuck off,
out,
like
not going out, right? At all,
yeah.
Right. If you ever go out, then you got your Tupperware ready.
Yeah, you're not eating what they're eating. You have to think of yourself different.
Yeah. No,
you can't
absolutely.
fucking, yeah.
And that helped out a lot. So the first weekend of prep, I went to a wedding in California that I drove to, right?
Yeah.
And I brought with me, I cooked
All your shit.
a whole bunch of chicken and rice and egg whites and cream of rice. And I brought it down with me, and all throughout that wedding weekend, I had my Tupperware with me. I was microwaving.
You stayed on plan the whole time.
Oh yeah.
You're the man, dude.
And let me tell you, there is nothing that pisses people off more.
Well, they hate you for it.
Yeah, and
They just hate you.
I cannot understand it.
There is a thing with people where, like, we want you to be like us. We are not. You're achieving too much. We don't like it.
And I got that a lot when I was Mormon, right?
Yeah.
So not drinking when I was going out and stuff like that.
So do you drink now?
Yeah, I haven't practiced.
I was gonna say, because I'm not a drinker and I feel that fucking shit all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, once in a while, like people bring me alcohol, I'll have a little, but there's like a weird fucking like double standard where like they judge you for not drinking. It's like, we're doing something bad and we don't like that you're above that. We need you to come down here in the trenches with us.
Better than us?
It's the you think you're better thing.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. So I at the wedding reception, and I have my chicken and rice, and I'm sitting there eating it,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all this like pizza and stuff that they brought out, and my aunt is sitting there, and she goes, "Sam, you want to try a slice of pizza?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I have my own food. Thank you." And she goes, "You're gonna let a diet ruin this wedding weekend?" And I was like,
How's it ruined?
I was like, a slice of pizza is not going to ruin this weekend. In fact,
Well, it's not going to make this weekend. It's not like it matters.
Yeah. My weekend being good does not hinge on a slice of pizza.
No.
But I will say that if I do eat this, I'm actually going to have a worse weekend because I'm going to be pissed off that I didn't keep to my diet while I was down here.
Right.
And I'm going to beat myself up over it.
Because you messed up.
Yeah. So that was kind of being baptized.
People are weird about it, dude. Like, yeah. I just like, it's so I work in the bar industry, so it's like just a lot of fucking, I don't know, like not cool people, like, so yeah, you gotta be, and they get pissed off at you for being into fitness and shit, kind of like, either they get inspired by you or they hate you for it. There's the two types of people. There's people who like they don't want to put that kind of work in, but they're very inspired by what you're doing anyway, and they like look up to it, even though they're like, that's not for me. I'm gonna enjoy my beer. I'm gonna eat my pizza, but man, you're killing it, and they're happy for you. And then there's the people that fucking like hate you because you're doing better in life than them. Like,
oh, it must be nice to have those genetic. I can't tell you.
Oh, dude, must be nice people.
Yeah, must be nice people. Oh, I wish I had those genetics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I show them a picture from a year ago, and I'm like,
yeah, you got a good,
what are you
good
talking about?
before picture to fucking show them like, no, not my fucking genetics. Like, look at this
it's
shit.
called working.
It's called fucking work. 100%, dude. We, so the people I live with now, they're both like in their 50s, but they're like fucking like health nuts, like, I would say like, so the girl, she's like a 90-10 person, like 90% of the time. The guy's a little more loosey-goosey, but he does have pretty good genetics, so he's more of an 80-20, but overall, they're both so fit. I look up to them so much because they're in their 50s, but they look young as fuck, and they act young as fuck. And so luckily, I've been living with them. Like, so during the prep, I got, they have a gym in their house. So like, I'm up doing my cardio in the morning. But they have these other friends who are those fucking like, so they used to drink with these friends, and it's like, so they would only see them, out partying when they were partying. So they think like, so they would give them that must be nice shit. Like, oh, must be nice to be all fit. It's like, you don't see us the other times when we're not here drinking with you, what our lifestyle looks like. It's called we're up at 6 a.m. We're doing cardio. We're lifting. If you look at our meals, it's chicken. It's vegetables. We're not eating shit all the time. Yeah. You see us on the weekend when we eat out with you and we're taking a break from that. So the 10% of the time, and then you tell us must be nice.
Yeah, it's the exception and not the rule.
Right. People are always, they'll always look at someone and think like, they just don't see what's going. It's like the iceberg thing. You see those memes. Yeah. It's like down here's like all the healthy diet, exercise. They only see you the one weekend that you're taking a break from it and actually enjoying yourself, which is not going to ruin all the progress because, it's just once in a while. So it's like, I don't know. I hate that must be nice shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, I've seen your lifestyle, and that's exactly why you look the way that you look. It's not your fucking thyroid. You know, it's like, I think I need to get the doctor to check my thyroid. It's like, no, it's not your thyroid. I've seen what you're fucking eating.
Man,
They always want to find something else to blame it on besides themselves and their lifestyle. You know, like.
Yeah. I'm sure you have the same experience, you know, of just telling people there is no secret. None of this is a secret.
There's no secret.
Eat at a caloric deficit and work hard, and you will lose
Literally,
weight.
that's exactly all it is,
Yeah.
dude.
Like, that's it. You know?
You literally get on a meal plan, and people always think they want to have their cake and eat it too. And it's like, actually, no, like, this is what it's going to look like. Like, this is all you're going to get to eat. And that's like all your body needs. But they think, I don't know, they have some weird idea that, like, so how much, when you're cutting, were you like pretty low on calories? Are you somebody that can like lose on, like when you got down to the end, was it pretty restrictive, or were you still on some carbs, or like?
Jordan put me no carbs 10 days before the show.
Yeah, I was about 2 weeks of no carbs.
Dude, I was like,
I couldn't even function, but I felt fucking great in a weird way too, as long as I didn't have to do anything.
yeah. I had told people, so my workouts completely went out the window.
Oh yeah, my strength was completely fucked.
I was working out.
I was hitting my cardio every day, forcing myself through that.
Yeah.
But that was all I could do.
Yeah. It was.
When I would try to lift, it was like shit.
I would get like 20 or 30 minutes of like lifting weights, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I'd do little arm stuff, little back, little shoulder stuff, and it was just shit, dude.
Yeah.
It was nothing like my lifts before. You know.
Yeah. So that was strange being in that.
There's a weird thing, because I was telling people it was weird, because I'm like, I looked probably the dopest I've ever looked. And I was probably getting hit on the most I've ever got hit on, but I had zero sex drive because I was like so fucking depleted. And I was like, I kind of like, when I'm doing the show and stuff, I go on like a no sex, no porn, nothing. Like fucking, I won't.
Detox.
Yeah, dude, because I think it's bad. I think it's dopamine hits. I kind of believe that in general. You know, with all that stuff, I feel like it's better to like not do that shit. Because it's like such an easy dopamine hit. It
I don't
fucks you
think
up.
you have anything to lose from doing that. You know.
Oh, right. From not doing it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to judge people that do that. But for me, it's like, it's another one of those things. It's like a dopamine thing. So like, yeah, I was just like, it was weird because I felt like, man, I'm like, I feel the best I've ever felt. But like, also like, it's a weird, I couldn't really function like that.
Yeah.
You know, but there was something really clean about it. Because, you know, you're literally only putting like chicken, spinach, and almonds in your body. And that's like it. No salt, you know. And so it's like
salt.
water, chicken, spinach, and almonds for like almost 2 weeks was all that was in my system. And I'm like, I've never felt so like pure before. Like part of the earth or some shit. Like,
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah, it was
where
weird.
You cut out chemicals and stuff like that you're ingesting, and all of a sudden, how much better.
And then you realize how much of like aging is literally just the shit we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
Because I felt young as fuck, you know, like it was crazy, dude. Yeah.
I think it's what I think is pretty ironic about it is that like once you get to that point,
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I feel fantastic. Right?
Yeah, you do.
But then as soon as you're done with the show,
You want nothing to do with it.
You go back to right how you were at before.
It's true,
And then
man.
the next time you get back to that, you're gonna be like, oh, I forgot how good I felt
this
when I did
feels.
this. But
I
as soon as that
know.
show's over, you know what I'm saying? Like you just go right back into.
I know, man.
Yeah.
It is weird. So like you could be like, and I'm not saying be that depleted, but you could like live your life that way and be clean all the time and just like your brain functions like if you were that lean or that clean of eating, but with a little bit of carbs in there, so your brain function, man, I feel like that's the best health you could be.
Yeah.
If you're cutting out mostly chemicals and shit. But then it's like, yeah, now I'm back on like pre-workout and fucking all the kinds of shit that you
Energy
put in your
drinks,
fucking
yeah.
body. Like, yeah, it's wild, dude. But it's just, the human body's amazing. Like you said, you get these people like telling you must be nice, and then you show them your before and after, dude. Like you think about that, like this is something everybody could do. No matter how shitty their genetics are, like, okay, you got shitty genetics, you make your body look good, like your ugly face is going to look better. You know, like if you're trying to like date or some shit, like you get these dudes, it's like, look at Jeff Bezos, dude. Like You know, like the fucking Amazon dude. He got on
he's not a
TRT.
looker.
He like shaved his head, got on TRT, and he's got like a hot girlfriend. It's like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, you know, the confidence that you get is
big
also
time.
right. Even if once you stop blaming other things, right, and you take accountability for where you're at,
It's huge.
and you change it, that has been the biggest confidence boost for me, because I can say I had this problem,
Yeah.
I fixed it,
Yeah.
and I now get to reap the benefits
Yes.
of this. I feel fantastic, I look great, and I can move around, I can go play football or whatever and not feel like I'm
Dude,
going to have a heart attack.
That's
right?
fucking huge.
That's so empowering to be able to say that.
Well,
right?
that's why I hate victim mentality, because it's like everybody wants to blame something else. Like, well, I look like this. I need to go to the doctor and get my thyroid checked. It's like, bro, I just saw you eating cake and drinking beer every week. Like, it ain't your fucking thyroid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and sometimes it is. I don't want to say, like, sometimes the people get hormone problems and stuff, and there's people that can help them. But I think that what you said is so important, dude. Like, people always want to blame something outside of themselves, and they don't want to look at their own habits, and they think like they have this weird idea that like that person over there that they're looking over to and are jealous of, like they have these shitty habits that are causing them to have the life they have. But they think that that guy over there that they look up to who's in shape has the same habits as them, but just his genetics are why he's better looking than them. And it's like, no, if you actually look at his lifestyle, it's his fucking habits are not what you think they are.
And
you know what I'm saying? So like, but they don't ever want to look. They think that they can like somehow get in shape while maintaining the shitty habits that are causing them to be out of shape. They don't understand that like your body is literally a consequence of the life you're living.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you said, once you like accept personal responsibility that your life is the way it is because of one person, you, that's the most powerful thing you can realize.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge.
And, you know, there are some people who have fantastic genetics, right? And
100%.
They're genetically predisposed to be able to take advantage.
Yeah.
Right. When they get their diet on lock, then they really
can
look
really look good. Like,
right. But if you know you don't have that,
you still got to work with
can't
what you
change
got.
that.
Yeah.
You can't change
Yeah,
it,
because we've
right?
all seen that where somebody's just like genetically awesome. So like they can go out, party, drink, do drugs. Their body's just so good that they can absorb it all. I mean, sometimes it eventually catches up with them, but we've all seen those dudes.
Yeah.
You know, they're killing it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, but like just seems like nothing can really,
Yeah.
you know, but then like that'll catch up with them when they get older and shit, you know?
Yeah. But there's nothing you can do about that. If you don't have those genes, then you
got to deal with the
looking at
hand
people-
that was dealt to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can do a lot with it, dude. And also just being like born in this country is basically like winning the lottery. You know what I'm saying? So like we have a lot going for us here. If you can't like, I don't know, make something of yourself or like, it's kind of on you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, whether it's something that's like instinctual or intuitive, you know,
Yeah.
like whether it's learned or it's something that you're born with, you know, I think some people just are never shown that they have the ability to make that change, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people just don't even understand, or like, you know, like you said, you worked with that guy for those 3 months and it just changed your world. Like there's a lot of people that actually don't even know their own potential.
Yeah.
And if they could be shown, they'd be like, holy shit. I even thought of that when I did the show. It made me realize not only was my potential where it was, but I could have done a lot. Kind of like you said, like I could have actually weighed in less. So like, it's kind of like, actually, I know I could even do better.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, holy shit. And you realize your potential and you're like, so then when you start failing, you're like, shit, it's me. It's not my potential. Like my potential, I saw what it was. I'm just not putting the fucking work in.
Yeah.
If I put the work in, not only can I do what I did, but I could do even better than that. I could do more than that. You know, it's like, and it makes you, I don't know, to me, it's like exciting, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, something that I have been very blessed with throughout my life is I've been luckily surrounded by a lot of fantastic people who have always been very encouraging of, you know, anything I
Right.
try to do. And, you know, like I was saying, not everybody has a support system like that.
Well, that's kind of like, you say like everybody has equal opportunities, but I can't remember, one of my guests was like, yeah, but is your mom a crack whore? Like just something like that simple. Like it's like easy for us to like look at somebody homeless or look at somebody and be like, man, just get a fucking job. And it's like, well, like I had a fucking family that like, they're both still married. They were there. No one was absent. They like took care of me. Some people's moms were crack whores. Yeah. So like, there's a difference there. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody's coming from like equal, like you said, or some people don't even know like that certain things are capable, and they weren't around a support system like you that was positive and telling you like, you go and be like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show. And like, you can do it. You got this. There'd be other people like, you ain't shit, you piece of shit. You'll never do a fucking bodybuilding show.
Why are you focused on that?
You're a fucking, you need to fucking focus on this. Get your fucking shit. You know what I mean? If that's the voice in their head, and then that's like their dad or something, and then they go through life and that's always fucking still in their head. So like anytime they try to do that, I'd be like, you're a piece of shit. You can't fucking do that. That's still in their fucking mind. It's like,
So that's something I, really want to embody is, I had that guy, John, right? Really.
You can do that for other people.
I'm really, and I think I know people have different callings, people are meant to do different things out on this earth. But I think if you're in that spot where you've been able to compete, and you've been able to see through those like changes and stuff. Yeah. I think you'd be doing yourself a service in trying to show other people how to also get that. Obviously they have to want it, right? You can't force anybody.
You'll be so surprised who you're influencing, dude, and who's looking up to you. It's like crazy.
I had 2 people in the same day yesterday ask me how much I charge for training.
Yeah, and you're not even training?
Yeah, or and I was like, I've never trained anybody in my
Have you thought about it? It's starting to take off for me. I'm like...
Yeah, well, I told one of the guys, I was like, I probably have more experience lifting than anybody else in this gym right now. Yeah. But I've never written a diet plan.
Right. So like, I'm not a guy, like I'm not going to train like Jordan does, but I train regular people.
Yeah. So I'm not going to write you a diet plan because that will affect your health, right? And I don't want to be held responsible for that. Right. But if you want me in here while you're working out, I
show you how to lift.
And I will help you with a good workout.
Yeah, training is pretty fun, dude. Like it's weird because you get this feeling like if I'm in the bar serving people drinks, it doesn't really align with my moral values. Because, like, I'm giving these people this drug. Most of them are depressed and hate themselves. And it's sad. It's sad that I'm giving them this shit that's bad for them and that their lives are shitty. If I'm, like, helping somebody in the gym, I get this weird feeling of, like, and, like, they're telling me, like, their knees are starting to feel better and, like, my balance is getting, especially some of my older clients, like, you get this feeling of, like, I'm actually putting something good into the universe. Yeah. And like I'm actually helping somebody, and it's such a better feeling.
In a capacity you never thought you could do that.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
I never thought of myself. I know that teaching is something that I know I will do on this earth, right? I have a good quality to do that, but I never pictured myself as somebody who would be able to combine teaching with working out. No. So to have 2 different people, completely different atmospheres of influence, to ask me that in the same day it's
pretty cool. Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, I never thought.
Or it's funny too, like you'll just do stuff. It's like, we get these, we have these Indian guys at the bar and they'll be like, drinking and they're like, you look like Batman, you look like Wolverine. Like they're like, just because you're a big guy to them, you're like this fucking superhero. Or like, you'll be walking around out in a sleeveless shirt outside and like there's this like neighbor lady and she's like, oh my God, you work out. And people notice that shit. And it is kind of cool to see that this work that you put in, like people are appreciating it, like.
Yeah. And, when I look in the mirror, all I see is like the improvements I need to make,
Oh, me too.
I need to fill my back out, stuff like that. Then, like you said, people at the gym, like, bro, you're huge.
It's like, what? You're like, I'm small as fuck.
Yeah, I was like, all I could think of is being on stage at Emerald Cup and being, 20 pounds underweight. And I'm like, I'm not huge, you know. I'm the
No, I think about like, oh, I got like 5th place in the fucking novice category and I have so much work to do. It's like, you know.
But it's easy to get, you know, we were in the top point, you know.
But just being
whatever
able to
echelon,
be on stage with people that are that caliber and not look like a complete fucking idiot.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, that was big for me. Like, I forget, like, just to look halfway passable on that stage.
Yeah.
That was cool, dude.
And, you know, I think I told you this on Emerald Cup.
Well, you did good, right? How'd you do in the show?
So I took 3rd in True Novice, and then I took 6th for Open.
Dude, congrats, though. That's dope.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and, you know, I was not upset about that at all.
No, that's pretty cool.
But, you know, I think I remember telling you on Emerald Cup Day, I was like, I'd rather take 3rd or 6th at the Emerald Cup than take 2nd at a show
At some small show.
with 10 people in it, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Dude, because Emerald Cup. It's big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
But
Dude, it makes you hungry for more. It's so weird because, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I know I'm bulky now, so I'm like, let's fucking do this, you know? Like,
and hopefully bulking that won't ruin your body for the rest of your life. Yeah.
no. Well, that's my thing, too, is I'm like, okay, I just don't want to turn into a fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what happens sometimes, too, when you decide you're going to bulk. It's like, I want to get...
Eat everything you see.
Dude, well, that was horrible. Like, after the show, I couldn't stop eating.
Yeah.
It was fucking
No,
terrible.
Totally. I think I had like 15 Hot Pockets in 2 days.
Yeah, I'm still kind of dealing with that sugar addiction, dude. Like, I'm still, like, fucking trying to stop that shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about, I think when you're in a deficit like that, your body just freaks out.
For so long.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, man. So what are some of your plans for the future for next year?
I would like to compete in Emerald Cup next year.
Again, yes.
That's the goal, is to do Emerald Cup next year, see how much weight I can put on this.
Any
offseason.
other shows or just
I think just that one.
Just that one again? Okay.
Yeah. In terms of the Navy, I should be moving in October of next year. So that's why I'm just looking at doing Emerald Cup next year because my future past
You
that.
might be going somewhere else.
Yeah, I might be going. I'm hoping I get.
Now,
to
do you see this
San Diego.
fitness thing being like a thing in your life for the rest of your life, kind of?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I've done every day, 5 days a week, every week for the last 8 years. You know, like you know. So
Dude, that's wild because like I think I've been lifting since like 2002, and people be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, not to the level I am now, but so like since 2002, there hasn't been 1 week that I've not been in the gym. That's like a long fucking time, dude. But it's like it's just part of your life.
Yeah.
Like you ever see that video of Arnold where he's like, it's just like brushing your teeth, you know? It just you just do it. You get up, you go to the gym, you know. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of, and it has its ups and downs, you know, but. You know, and then there's eras that are better than other eras where you're killing it, eras where you're not killing it.
Where you're just surviving.
But you're still there. You're still doing it, man. So.
And especially, you know, moving up here, I met almost all the friends I have right now. I met through my gym. You know?
And it's some of the dopest people you're ever gonna meet.
Absolutely. So.
Hell yeah. Well, man, so we probably got to wrap this up here, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. I really appreciate you being here. That was a fun conversation. And good luck to you next year in the Emerald. We'll see you there. I'll probably do it too.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah,
good,
dude.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you for being here. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And we will see you guys next time.
Peace out.